I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion. I said, you're not getting $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money.
Biden's son inked a $1 billion deal with a subsidiary of the Bank of China just 10 days after he and his dad visited the country in 2013.
And a son of the U.S. vice president has joined the board of directors of Ukraine's largest private gas producer. Hunter Biden now leads the company's legal unit, getting the position a few weeks after his father's trip to Kiev.
Since the start of the crisis in Ukraine, Washington has provided unwavering moral and financial support to anti-government protesters, particularly those who spearheaded the uprising. Over the past months, Kyiv has received special visits from the CIA director, the Secretary of State, his assistant, senators, and most recently, U.S. Vice President Joe Biden.
We, the United States, stand with you and all the Ukrainian people. In time, democracy can be delivered to the Ukrainian people. It is not just a foreign policy judgment. It is a personal, it's an emotional commitment.
It's been revealed that the son of US Vice President Joe Biden was thrown out of the US Navy Reserve earlier this year after he tested positive for cocaine. It's understood Hunter Biden failed the drug test in June 2013 and was then discharged 8 months later in February 2014. In a statement, the 44-year-old said he deeply regretted his actions. Hunter Biden had been working part-time for the Navy Reserve as a public affairs officer in Virginia. He started the job in May 2013 and tested positive for drugs a month later.
Last year, in an interview, Joe bragged about getting Ukraine's general prosecutor fired. He says he was standing up to corruption.
I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion. I said, you're not getting $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. It is not just a foreign policy judgment. It is a personal, it's an emotional commitment. Well, son of a got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid at the time.
Well, it just so happens that the general prosecutor was investigating an energy firm in which Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, was heavily invested. Burisma Holdings is an energy corporation in Ukraine, and Hunter Biden, the son of the former vice president, has made a rather handsome profit from it, especially in the aftermath of the 2014 events in Ukraine in which pro-EU forces took power. That prosecutor was looking into 3 different instances of foul play from Hunter's cash cow. However, all it took was a phone call from Papa Joe, and that prosecutor was out.
We had plans that included interrogations and other crime investigation procedures into all members of the executive board, including Hunter Biden.
It is not just a foreign policy judgment. It is a personal, it's an emotional commitment.
Members of the board obtained funds as well as another US-based legal entity, Rosemont Seneca Partners, LLC, for consulting services.
One might argue that perhaps Joe Biden had no idea about his son's financial interests. They say he's the vice president. Perhaps he was too busy running the country to pay attention to his son's finances. However, if he watched any American media, he couldn't have missed it. Back during the Ukraine events of 2014, the White House dismissed any notion that Hunter Biden's financial dealings had any impact on their decisions.
I'm wondering if the State Department has any concerns or any thoughts about the Vice President's son joining the board of directors of this Ukrainian gas company.
No, he's a private.
A bombshell new book exposes deep financial links between former Vice President Joe Biden's son and the Chinese government. According to an investigation by Clinton Cash author Peter Schweitzer, Biden's son inked a $1 billion deal with a subsidiary of the Bank of China just 10 days after he and his dad visited the country in 2013. Biden's son inked a $1 billion deal with a subsidiary of the Bank of China just 10 days after he and his dad visited the country in 2013. Joining me now, Dr. Sebastian Gorka, former strategist to President Trump, now a Fox Business national security strategist. Where's the outrage? Where's the reporting of this? I haven't seen any.
Could you imagine if a fraction of this story was alleged against Jared Kushner? I mean, the book is just out. Peter Schweizer and his team did an amazing job on Clinton Cash. But in a nutshell, the story is, as you said, the stepson of John Kerry, the son of Joseph Biden, when they were cabinet members of the Obama administration, created a new investment fund called Seneca. They inked a $1 billion deal with the Chinese government, the Bank of China, and then together proceeded, this is just one example, to buy a U.S. manufacturing company called Hennings that was making very sensitive equipment crucial to our American military here at home. Look, I'm very rarely at a loss for words, Stuart, but this is potentially one of the biggest pay-for-play scandals we have ever seen outside of Uranium One.
If they were the sons of Chinese leaders, they would be called princelings, who have notoriously gotten very rich from inside dealings. And now it's the sons of leading American politicians making apparently making billion-dollar deals, whilst their dad was actively working in the Obama administration. I mean, I can't imagine anything like this before. This is really a bombshell story.
It is, and as you say, we expect this in a country like China, which only pretends to have a free market, and where the most impressive, biggest companies in China are always intertwined with the Communist Party, the Politburo, and the leading families of the Communist Party. But this is happening in America, and at the same time, not just linked to the government, Stuart. This is when John Kerry is ex officio the chairman of the CFIUS committee, which has to approve these deals with Communist China. Oh, and by the way, he doesn't recuse himself. They approve this deal with Communist China. It is stunning.